Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's Denise DiGrigoli live here on the HAN Network, The Drive. It's a motivational talk show about people, places, ideas, and organizations that move us forward mindfully and consciously. We believe it's how you fuel your mind, your body, your spirit that creates the life you live. And we're so thankful that you allow us to come into your life every Tuesday and share a little of that wit and wisdom. We start the show off with a mindful minute from Denise, and you know how I feel about pollutants in our oceans and seas. And I read last night that the average American uses about 40 pounds of toxic chemicals in and around their home. So I thought, well, in the spirit of spring cleaning, let's talk about some old-fashioned remedies. I don't know if you guys can flick that image up, but you've got hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, vinegar, lemon. All these things are much less expensive than traditional cleaners, and they're old-fashioned in that they deodorize, disinfect, reduce mold and mildew. So take a look around your pantry, try to find some of those things. Baking soda acts as an abrasive. You probably know you can even brush your teeth with it. Give these things a little bit of a whiz and let's help clean up the environment. So I have to tell you guys, we have so many great people that come on our show, and one after the next is even greater than the other. I'm so happy to introduce my friend Keryl Pesce, entrepreneur, author of The Happy Bitch, co-founder of a wine brand called Happy Bitch,
Yes.
with other things that help people move along and live an uber abundant and happy life.
Yes.
All the way in today from New York, also a talk show host on a station
In the Hudson Valley.
in the Hudson Valley. Thank you so much
My
for coming
pleasure.
in. I'm so
My
glad
pleasure,
you came.
Denise. Very happy to be here.
Welcome to The Drive. You couldn't fit the personality of this show any better.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about you, and tell me, we sent out a newsletter to some of our viewers that subscribe that said she unloaded her baggage and now has the formula for success. Can we take you back?
Sure, absolutely. And I love starting there. And the term baggage comes from actually the byline of my book. It's the girlfriend's straight up guide to losing the baggage and finding the fun, fabulous you inside. And it's a funny thing when I read that title to people, men mostly will say to me, well, if my wife reads that, does that mean she's going to leave me? I'm like, no, you're not the baggage. Baggage is those negative self-talk. It's anger. It's all those negative things that we have a choice over in our lives of anger and resentment to let that go. It doesn't serve us. So the story behind the book and what I do now is of paramount to what I believe in. I discovered my ex was having an affair many years ago.
Wow.
And yeah, it actually, it crushed me at the time. I was angry, all the normal things, feeling sorry for myself, fearful of what my future
You
held.
had no clue he was having an affair?
No, I walked up behind him and was waiting for him to finish a phone call and heard him tell somebody else he loved him.
Wow,
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
It was at the time, definitely.
Okay.
But I was also very aware that how I was in that time was not the true me. I'm not an angry, bitter person. I don't feel sorry for myself. And somebody who always figures it out. There's two kinds of things in life that upset us.
Right.
Things you can change and things you can't.
Right.
If you can't change it, let it go. If you can change it, figure it out.
That's a serenity prayer. I know the difference.
Pretty much, yeah. So I steadily focused my brain off of poor me.
Yeah.
And onto, well, what do I want my life to look like now? And I remember holding my hands out to my friends and I would say, you know what, I have my whole world in my hands now.
Right.
What do I want it to look like now? I get to recreate it again.
When you said you steadily got your thought process changed, was there a way you did that? Was that prayer, meditation? Was that exercise? Because controlling our thought life, we say it often, control the mind chatter, control the monkey mind, but how do people do it? That's what I find they ask me. How do you do it?
In that time for me, it was primarily asking new questions.
Okay.
There's not one of us, I think, that's going to get through our adult life without some point saying, why me? What did I do to deserve this?
Right.
Things happen in life. But so long as we stay in that why me, even though we're justified, even if maybe life or another person really did us wrong and we're justified to say why me,
Right.
that's not going to get you to a better place.
That's off-road
right.
in the daily drive.
Yeah.
That's way off-road.
So I would say to myself, okay, not why me, what's next? Not only what's next, focus on where I want to get to, but what good can I create from this? How can I take, and if you look at anybody who I would consider hugely successful, and when I consider hugely successful, doing what you love. If the money comes along, great, but you're happy. It's typically someone who's had some significant challenge that they learned from and they grew from.
So true.
So I took then what was the worst time of my life, got myself to a happy place, married an amazing guy, and I said, there's a whole lot of lessons along the way that I learned, and I want to put that down in a book and share it with other people. That was the beginning of the Happy Bitch brand.
That is incredible. So where do people find that book, and what is the genre? Is it self-help? Is it reflection?
It's self-help, and what I wanted to do, I am an obsessive studier and reader of self-help. I know you and I are on the same page there. I can't get enough of it. I love it. But what I find is there's many books, they're fabulous. The content is awesome.
Yes.
However, they're dry. And I wanted to write something that took what I've learned from reading the books, from my own personal experience, and put it down in something you and I are going out and having a glass of wine and we're talking girlfriend to girlfriend. It's a very conversational style. I did that very deliberately.
And where can people buy it? Is it on
Amazon.com.
Wonderful. And so you've written the book, and where did you put it out? Because now, were you always an entrepreneur? Because once you step into the realm of the book business, you become an entrepreneur. So was the book and then the wine, what were you doing? What was your career at this time when you were going through all this transition?
I had worked a regular 9-to-5 job. I worked in the manufacturing industry, but on the service side of it, I did accounting. I also did some sales for them. And then for a period of time, I did some real estate investing. I ran into someone who's become a very close friend now at the time, and he was telling me about what he did. I said, I'm your sponge, teach me, I'll do it. And I followed in his footsteps and did well at the time when that was my focus. And then I wanted to do something that was more fulfilling. That's not just about churning. It's not just about the money I can make from this. I want, Denise, the world to be a better place because I was here. I want to have a positive impact. So when the book first came out, I said, well, what else can I do that expands the brand? I want, and this is, my messages are universal to men and women. From a marketing standpoint, I wanted the branding, the name, the color, target it towards female. So what else can I do that helps women own and proclaim their happiness? And got the bright idea, and what do women love? And got the bright idea to start a wine brand.
A couple glasses of wine, help that along, certainly.
Yeah, and I have a terrific business partner alongside with that as well. So that was the next natural offshoot, and then the radio show came close with that too.
Okay, and where do we find the wine?
The wine is available in New York State in most liquor stores. We're unfortunately not yet in Connecticut, but if you go to the website for that, which is
we're showing it, great.
happybitchwines.com. If you go to that website, there is a link as to where you can buy it online and have it shipped, where the law allows.
Where the law allows. Okay. So, and you have these, I read on your website that you do a lot of speaking presentations to Bloom. You can tell us where you were because there's numerous. Bloomsburg.
Well, so either the brand was either named or my advice was included in redbook.com, Bloomberg Businessweek, New York Times, glamour.com. I think I was quoted once in cosmopolitan.com.
So all along that, if people are experiencing because we all think, what is happiness? It constantly eludes us, right? We move towards it. We say, well, when I get a little thinner, I can buy that dress, I'll be happy, or I'll find that husband or girlfriend or whatever. Or, when I get that better job, I'll be happy. So what are some of the tools of success that you would tell people? Because that's why many people tune in. They tune in for motivation, something, if we can make one person unstuck or move one person forward, I feel like we've done our job. So give us some Uber tools.
Okay, so what you're describing there, I like to call a case of the if-onlys. So if only this circumstance will change around me, if only this person will change, start doing this, then on the inside I'll feel happy.
Right.
And the actual reverse is true. If we find ourselves continually chasing the circumstances around us to change in order to feel good on the inside, we're going to be chasing for a long, long time.
Yes.
So the key is to say, okay, I may not be thrilled with this current circumstance in my life, but how can I adjust how I'm looking at it and how I respond to it to make me feel better?
Right.
And two of the most powerful tools to do that, to feel better right now, which ironically, then the things around you start to fall in place, not the other way around, are number one, gratitude. I'm a big believer in practicing gratitude on a regular basis. I will not flip the covers back and get out of bed in the morning and put my feet on the ground until I find at least something I'm grateful for.
Do you say it out loud? Do you?
No, my husband's still sleeping, so it's usually in my head.
we're going to get you a copy of the Daily Drive, and you can write it down.
And then at night, same thing. When I lie in bed, instead of worrying, am I enough? Did I do enough? And I deal with all those normal things that we all do as well. I lay there and put myself to sleep by thinking of all the things that are good and I'm grateful for in my life. And the third practice that anybody can start doing this, and I absolutely love this. My husband and I, for the last few years, have maintained a gratitude jar on our kitchen island.
Love that idea.
So what we have is I cut up colored construction paper, pink of course for me with the branding, blue for him, and then we have green little slips for guests. And every day we write down something we're grateful for, date it, fold it up and put it in the jar. And we invite our guests, if they come over, put in something you're grateful for. New Year's Eve, he and I open a bottle of wine and we sit down and we empty the whole jar out for the year.
Great idea.
And I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And we reflect on our year and all the blessings that we counted throughout the year. It's an awesome thing. Terrific gift too. I've done Christmas gifts and holiday gifts for people by getting a simple jar, some construction paper, cutting them up, tying them up in pretty ribbon, and it makes a beautiful gift.
That is a great gift. What I also like to say in that, and people will say, well, or today, and I say,
you're speaking to me. You do.
That, and did your car get you to work? Yeah. Did your dog say hello? Yeah. Did your paper get delivered? I mean,
you woke up this morning.
Yeah,
somebody.
You're on the right side of the soil for right now.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it just bears repeating. Like the simplest things bear repeating, and then I think that opens the door for greater things to come in. So moving forward, you've got all these great things. Tell me about some of the seminars and other tools that you present, because I know you do some corporate wellness.
I do, and if I can backtrack for 1 second
Sure.
and come back to that, there was 2 things that I suggest for people to practice to feel good on the inside now. Okay. One is gratitude, and the other is kindness.
Okay.
It is a known fact that when we do an act of kindness for someone, our brain, which is the best pharmacy in the world, releases serotonin. That's the same drug that is in antidepressants. Mm-hmm. So when you do an act of kindness, if you ever watch a video online and you see somebody did something really good, receives your kindness, the person doing the kindness and anybody who witnesses it, their brains instantly release serotonin. It's a natural antidepressant. Mm-hmm. And if you ever had a friend who was feeling down and maybe even borderline desperate, of course if there's professional help needed, but encourage them to find a way to do something kind for someone.
Random act of kindness.
I'm 100% a big believer in that, and maybe if I can talk about this for a second while
sure,
we're on
absolutely.
that topic. Okay. So I practice this in little ways and big ways. Whenever I pass somebody, I'm always the first one to smile.
Me too.
Just love to give out that positive energy. It could be something as simple as I was at a department store a few weeks ago, and I had to return something, and the girl behind the counter was clearly frustrated. She was not making eye contact with me. She was throwing things around. The me, maybe 10 years ago, I'd be, okay, game on. You should be happy you have a job and cop an attitude. But now I look at it as, okay, I've been given this moment to see if I can turn her around.
To make a change.
Yeah. So ironically, I had picked up 2 kind bars. And I stood there and I looked at her, I said, would you like one of these? And I just pushed it towards her. Mm-hmm. And she stopped what she was doing, Denise, and she said, are you kidding me? She said, no, I don't want it, but you just absolutely made my night.
Aw, great.
She said, I just came in for my shift, and the person didn't do their job before me.
And she was mad.
She was frustrated. It had nothing to do with me, a little moment of kindness. So on that note, 2 years ago, I think it was, I get an email from someone I'd never met. She said, I have an idea for a book. She's a big believer in random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
And I told a mutual friend, and she said, you would help me. Here's my concept. I want to create a journal where someone records their name and contact information in it, does an act of kindness and records that act, and gives the person the journal. They then get to write down, wow, this person just bought my coffee today, made my day. They pay it forward and do another act, and the journal follows 12 acts of kindness. The last act of kindness is to contact you as the journal owner and return the completed journal to you.
This is a great idea.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's a wonderful idea. Where is this available?
This is available Amazon.com.
I'm going to show this, guys. It's
called Share This Journal.
Share This Journal. Wonderful.
So I helped her, and I knew it was her dream, and I said, first thing I want to say to you is this is done, okay? So it's not even a question, this is done, I will help you. Wanted no recognition for it. She's about a foot shorter than me, and she kept putting my name on the cover. I kept taking it off, and she's smaller, but she won that argument. So
what's her name?
Her name is Amy Gopel.
This is
beautiful.
Yeah, wonderful. I can tell this hour is going to be jam-packed, guys, so please stay right with us. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. It's Denise DiGrigoli live on the HN Network with The Drive every Tuesday. Our guest today is Keryl Pesce. Please tune back in. Thanks so much.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first, a place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000. The HAN Network is the leader in local broadcasting in Fairfield and Westchester counties. We reach tens of thousands of viewers via our live news, sports, and entertainment broadcasting. We can create your advertisement and broadcast it through our programming to one of the most affluent markets in the United States. And remember, our broadcasting is live, which means viewers cannot skip or click past your marketing message. And we measure our audience and their demographics on every broadcast. To advertise on the HAN Network, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're talking about happiness today with expert Keryl Pesce, author of Happy Bitch book and the brand of wine, helping people move forward. We love her on The Drive.
Oh, thank you. Love being here.
We feel like more people need to know about this. So you teach these happiness tools of abundance and fulfillment on a corporate level, beyond your books and this fabulous Share the Journal book. So tell us about those programs. But what I'm really interested in is so many viewers have the same thing, but we all sit at home saying, I'm the only one with this. Oh my God, I'm the one, I'm not happy. So the question I sent out in my email is, what makes you happy? What are we seeing as trends where people feel they're happy versus where are we seeing that they're not happy? Like, what do you see as a common issue people are coming to you for, corporations as well as individuals?
I think stress and anxiety is a big one. Feeling overwhelmed, there's too much going on, and the pressure is coming from every direction. We have a harder and harder time to shut our brains down. I am a huge advocate for controlling what gets in here, what you see, and how it affects you. And if you think about it, today, we're plugged in constantly via the internet, via our phones. Maybe we used to be able to get in the car and have 10 minutes or a half hour of quiet reflection time, which is invaluable. We think we're do, and go, and then that's how, the more productive we are, the better we are. Right. That's not always the case. No. So my co-host on the radio show, Jonna, teases me that I live in a place affectionately she calls Keryl's big bubble world because I know that what I feed my brain will affect how I feel. Absolutely. So if people find themselves making too many commitments where you feel under pressure all the time and you're putting your own happiness low on the totem pole, thinking that's how I'm going to be a good person is if I give to everyone around me. But if you give to the point of exhaustion and you're stressed out, you're less and less capable of giving to them. So I think it begins with recognizing if I feel stressed and overwhelmed or even sad, to look at taking less, doing less. So sometimes it's setting boundaries and saying, you know what, no, I appreciate the offer and I wish I could help you, but no. To guilt-free say, you know what, I'm going to be stronger and healthier and able to give more when I feel good.
When I'm refreshed.
Yes.
Yes.
And put a high value on that. That's where all happiness begins, is with giving yourself permission.
And what about the tie into perfection? Because we feel like, again, you know, I can't be happy until circumstances, situations, relationships are perfect. But, you know, I think it's like the more you resist, persists kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think that perfection is a subjective term. What's perfection to you and to me are two very different things. And is it even such a thing, perfection? And does that stop our happiness?
Yes, it does. And first of all, I want to say I've been studying the field of human behavior and happiness for over a decade, obsessively studying it. I'm fascinated by it. I have more knowledge in my head over it than I think any other person I know personally. That said, I deal with all of the things we're talking about. I have days where I feel stressed or down in the dumps, or I wish I was better than, or going on to social media where I felt good when I went on, and wait a minute, I don't look that good. And they're in the Maldives, or they're in Greece, and here I am in my yoga pants on my couch. You know, that comparison thing. So I think we all will deal with it. I don't think it ever completely goes away. But if you have a healthy perspective about life and like who you are, and have certain tools to shift your thought process, one was the first one of the things we talked about, asking new questions, more empowering questions, and being careful as to what gets your time and what gets your attention.
Right, and I think that bears repeating on the toxic environment or toxic people, right? Because we talked about energy and the use of energy before.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and you have to work sometimes with all different types of people.
Right.
You have to interact with all different types of people. But you have to almost be able to shift that energy in the same way you did with the
girl in
person,
the department
right?
store, yeah.
If someone is coming at you, even as politely as can be, but you just feel that energy that's not appropriate for you, how do you teach people to intuitively pick that apart without judging people, right? Because other people have bad days too. So it doesn't mean they're a toxic person just because they maybe lost their mind. But what is, you know, the tools of like discernment, I guess.
How I like to look at it is to say, I'm not going to allow an energy vampire be in my environment on a regular basis. Do we have less control at work? Sometimes.
Yes.
But still, there's always a choice. You know what? If somebody's being mean and angry all the time, they're probably hurting.
Right, of course.
So maybe you could be the person to pull them aside and say, is there anything I can do for you?
Right.
Without any expectations of anything in return, and be the one that turns their energy around. But
Yes, you know, I used to work in my grandmother's business, and we used to deal with customers all the time that would come through of all different levels, and we used to almost enjoy trying to like turn the ones around that were really sour. And we always felt like, you know, when we could make a connection that, you know, regardless if they bought anything from us or not, we felt like we had done our job.
that's a gift.
That's a gift.
An absolute gift. So I'm selective. I choose not to, in my personal life, have people around me on a regular basis I consider energy vampires. You know the people, when they walk in the room, you just can feel the heaviness. They're negative, they're complaining, they're angry, it's always
they're bickering with
blaming,
their spouse, or they're bickering at their kids.
So if that is your common nature, you're not going to get a lot of my time if I have a choice about it. But there's a difference, Denise, between someone who is going through a difficult time or having a bad day and somebody who is just chronically negative.
Right.
I'm not for a minute suggesting we abandon another human being or even a close friend who's going through a hard time.
Right.
Of course, be there for them. We've all been there, and we've all needed that person that gave us a caring hand or a hug or a kind word or just listened to us.
It's so true.
Yeah, so the temporary thing, somebody's having a bad day, compassion and patience. Understand you've been there too.
Right.
But if they're chronically negative, I make no apologies. You're not going to be in my space on a regular basis.
And often what I tell some of the people that follow the Daily Drive in some of my seminars is take one small baby step. Come out of your comfort zone, right? Try something new and something different. So where does that, I'm sure you do something similar to that in your training seminars, because I watched a few of your YouTube videos, which are fabulous.
Oh, thank
do you have your own YouTube channel? Should we mention that?
I do. It's my name.
Your name, Keryl Pesce. Okay. So you guys are going to get on social media and look her up and down, right, front, and center. So again, I feel like the response I get from some of the folks that tune in is like, that was so helpful, that was so motivational, what she said really pinged me. Can we give them like one like real ping, like one to do other than the gratitude that they can do every day, that will, beyond the gratitude, help them sort of calibrate that energy?
Well, I think one of the things that's at the basis of us not feeling good about ourselves or about our life is our sense of self-worth.
Okay, great.
We are constantly chasing this, am I good enough? Am I enough? And I even deal with it at times. I'm human, and I think it's, as much as I know, I'm not being authentic if I don't tell you that.
Right.
So one of the best ways to feel better about who we are, I'm going to go back to the second point I made before about being kind towards other people. I now keep a giving wallet. I take a certain amount of every time I get paid, however much you can do, even if it's a small amount, and I have a separate wallet just for that. I'm on the lookout for opportunities that I can do something kind for someone.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah, I love it.
People like be tuning in left and right. Keryl's going to randomly give me some money.
Yeah, well, they chase me outside. And this is actually one of the things, I know we're going to get to the corporate wellness piece of it. One of the things is I usually assign a voluntary exercise where they will pull names out of a hat, whoever's been part of the session, and they agree once a week for the next month to do a secret act of kindness for their coworker.
Isn't that
and
great?
not know who it is. And the response, the mood, the whole morale of it just changes everything. Some of the feedback I've gotten from people who have participated has been amazing. So, does your coworker love Snickers bars? Do they love Starbucks? Are there certain things that you know that are special to them? Leave a candy bar on their desk. Find a way to do something kind for someone else. Something else I do is sometimes I'll just stick a $1 bill behind a bag of potato chips at the grocery store. It's not about credit. It's just, I know, imagine that. You're in a rush, you're going through the grocery store, oh, there's $1.
Well, I think that's like depositing that energy,
Yeah.
paying it forward, right?
Yes.
Without an attachment.
Yes.
And once you do that, I think the energy responds in the universe. It knows. You might not get it
100%.
back that afternoon, but you've sent that energy out into the quantum physics field, and you've let it go without that attachment. That's so. I mean, if we could get everybody watching to do that, if every single person could do one random act of kindness, would we stop world war? Probably.
Yeah,
Right?
and I believe
Every
that.
day.
The change in the world begins at the individual level. We like to say they will change it, or people in a position of power. You, Denise, are in a position of power every moment of every day, and how you move through this world. And I love that you brought about that non-attachment, because one of the I tell people when I do this session in the corporate world, okay, that one of the main secrets to happiness is through kindness and compassion towards other people.
Absolutely.
And then I say, and I'm going to tell you your arguments before you tell me. One of which is, but I'm already kind and nobody does it back for me.
Right.
Well, you're getting caught up in the attachment. When you do something kind for someone, whether it's offering a kind bar, whether it's something big like helping Amy's dream come true, you do it because you feel good in the moment of doing it, and that is your reward done. It is not dependent on how that other person responds.
I do this religiously. If I'm not in a rush and someone's dying to get out from the parking lot into the lane, I'm like, come on. Because I know the next time I'm in a rush and I need that universal return favor, it'll be there. Often I'll say to Ava and Troy, we're trying to get a parking spot in Manhattan. Visualize it, guys. Visualize it out in front of the restaurant. Do you agree with this kind of formula?
100%, the law of attraction.
And
yes.
some people will look at me like I'm completely kooky. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the corporate art programs and how this really isn't kooky.
Okay.
All this use of energy. We're running over, and Eric's kind of giving me the break, guys. So we're having way too much fun here today. Please, if you want to ask us a question, tweet us now at HAN Network CT, and we'll see if we can get your question answered, or we can take your emails. What's your email, Keryl?
Keryl, Keryl, at kerylpesce.com.
Okay, so we've got all our bases covered. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks for tuning in The Drive. It moves us forward mindfully and consciously here on the HAN Network every Tuesday. Thanks again.
Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Chaplinsky
And Josh Fisher.
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
It's The Drive on HAN Network every Tuesday, a motivational talk show that moves you forward mindfully and consciously. How you fuel your mind, your body, spirit creates the life you live. And if you've been with us for the first two segments, you know that Keryl Pesce is a happiness expert, and we're figuring out today what makes us happy. What makes us happy, Keryl? What do you think? Is it our energy? Is it our thoughts? Is it a combination? Is it that, we involve ourselves in self-help? Like, what makes us happy?
I think the key is training and building your thoughts to be healthy and develop a healthy perspective. One of the biggest mistakes we make is and honestly, if you ask every single person what are their goals, what do they want to do, if you then further ask them why, you're going to ultimately get to because they think it's going to feel good when they make that happen. Right. But that chasing of having things around us in order is like being on the hamster wheel. So do what you can to invest in what you're thinking and how you see the world. One of the best ways to do that is to be very aware of your self-talk. We have on average 40 to 50,000 conversations a day going on inside of our heads. Be the observer of those thoughts and not just be consumed by those thoughts. If that was just one thing that you did, was to step back and be more aware of the conversations that are going on in your head, and when they're negative, angry, fearful, stop. Okay, what's a more positive? It's thought training.
It's like anything. I think it's like training your muscles
Sure.
or learning how to
Absolutely.
write for the first time.
Absolutely.
And what I do for myself is I say, is it real? Is it going to matter in 20 minutes?
Yeah.
How would I feel if this was happening to someone else that I loved? What advice would I give them?
Yes.
And is it necessary is there other ways that I can use my time? And I really try to then write positive statements out. I might feel terrible, but I'll try to write a positive statement out about my situation. Or if I'm trying to make a connection with another person and I'm having a rub with them, I might write a positive statement about them. Dear Jane, I want you to know that I respect and admire you. And we might not see eye to eye on this, but I hope that we can be, we can find common ground and respect each other's opinions. And more so than not, when I spread that energy out into the universe, whatever happens in the field of quantum physics, I find that my engagement with that person later on is better. I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
Right, not
but improved.
perfect. I will say improved and better. So tell me about your corporate wellness, because obviously there's a market for this. employers recognize that the use of energy and interpersonal skills and how people feel about themselves is critical to the success of any return on their investment.
I would say the number one challenge within any business is most likely their staff. Managing people, getting the most out of people, getting people to stay with you long term and be happy is probably one of the biggest challenges any business faces.
Right.
And if there's conflict amongst staff, that creates a problem. If someone is dealing with a personal problem, depressed, angry, dealing with self-worth or anxiety issues, totally affects their performance.
Right.
So it's a complete win-win when an employer is willing to invest in somebody like me to come in and talk with their team. Because you can only do so much of the extrinsic circumstances, better pay or change the work environment.
Or a company party.
Yeah, which I'm not knocking them.
No.
You know, it's important to have at least a minimum quality of where you work. But somebody like me comes in and changes their perspective.
Big time. Fabulous.
And so here's the natural progression. We all are doing the best we can in any given moment with what we have and know.
And so you're saying
are.
humans in general are intrinsically good people.
Yes, and we all,
for the most part,
we all want to be happy. That's something that we share together. So what happens is, with the best of intentions, we start working towards our dreams and our goals. As you and I both know, that does not always happen according to plan or on
It's not
time.
unicorns and butterflies, is it?
No. But what happens is, for some people, they then adopt this mentality of scarcity, of fearful, of self-doubt. They begin to doubt themselves, they begin to doubt life, and their actions and their thought process come from a place of fear and doubt. What does that look like? Dog eat dog. I gotta look out for number one. Self-preservation is the fastest route for me to get the things that I want.
Right.
And I come in and remind people, we're all in this together. We're all dealing with similar type challenges. We all want the same thing. And ironically, the key to achieving all of those things that you do want, those goals that you have, lies in saying, how can I help the person next to me?
Isn't it so true?
Yes, it's ironic. So I help people realize it starts as an inside game.
Yeah.
It begins with being aware of your thoughts, giving yourself permission to do what makes you feel good and happy, and adopt a spirit of generosity by looking out for each other again. And you create that imprint, you put that energy of the law of attraction around you.
And the interesting thing about that is, once people get that, because they're sometimes so worried about their personal agenda, probably fear-driven.
Of course.
But once they get that once they let go of that attachment again, it's almost like their agenda comes into being. It's like their desires are manifested. So
it's an element of faith, I think, that you want to be driven. Yes, you want to see the end goal, but then you have to relax a little bit and have a little bit of faith.
Right.
And in the workplace, what we're seeing, there was a study recently, somebody did some research at Harvard University, and it found that taking a person from either negative or neutral state of mind and being to happy resulted in a 31% increase in productivity.
I believe it.
37% increase in sales, and a 300% increase in ability to solve problems.
I believe that because it's the old saying, whatever wolf you feed grows.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're feeding the old negative wolf, he's just a big old fat wolf going to bite your head off and everyone else. But if you take the time to sort of weed that garden and feed the side of you that's more
Positive,
compassionate, really the true human essence, because we started this conversation saying that humans are intrinsically good.
Yeah.
So it's almost like finding your good by kind of letting go of all the shoulds. Right?
Oh,
I always say on the show,
I shall not should on myself
I shall
today.
not should on myself. And I get a little bit of
yeah.
a red hiney here for saying that. That's all right. We're showing wine.
You should.
Yeah. We should show
I
the
shall
wine.
shall not should on myself
So
today.
let's talk a little bit about you now. This is a lot of entrepreneurialism. It's a lot of energy to give out. And we all know when we're giving out energy, whether we're nurturing family members, businesses and brands, other people, there's got to be something you do to re-energize yourself. Like, what do you do? Is it walking? Is it ballet dancing? Is it yoga? Is it...
I do like to do yoga. I love to walk, especially this time of year when the weather is nice. Yesterday I walked to the bank, to the post office. I happen to live in a town where that's feasible for me.
Isn't that nice?
Getting outdoors, moving, fresh air. I'm not I wouldn't say athletic, where I'm constantly mountain climbing, although I do climb the mountain and that's in my town. But getting outside, moving definitely helps. And I think a big part of it for me is I have put such a high priority and high value on how I feel, that it's easier and easier for me to know what those boundaries are and to not give too much of myself away. I give because it feels good, not because I think I should.
I think that's an important thing to just stop and tell everyone, guys, it's okay to put a high value on yourself. It's not a narcissistic thing to do. It's almost like the airplane. Put the oxygen mask on first so you can help the loved ones. And I think people have a hard time delineating that, because if they feel like, you know, you're taking whatever they deem as too much time, then you're, again, being narcissistic or not. And I think it's important to remind our viewers and the people that will watch this later on that if you don't take time for yourself, you're really no good to anyone else.
No.
And this weekend, you know, my husband and I took a 21-mile bike ride, and we had started off.
Good for you.
We had started off in a discussion beforehand that seemed really stressful, and neither of us were in the mood to ride the bike. And like 21 miles, what? And
whose idea was that?
Yeah, whose idea? But when we came back, we had such a different perspective. Now, I'm not saying you have to ride 21 miles. I just happened to be getting into biking, so it's something new for me. But any type of outdoor exercise, or I also say maybe essential oils, maybe some yoga stretches, maybe just getting out of the room you're in, right? Shutting the TV off.
A change of environment, even just moving your body physically, doing something different. And something I know you're a big believer in. Whether you believe in meditation, some people have attachments to that, and that's okay. But you can benefit greatly by slowing your thoughts down and focusing on your breathing. Call it what you want. But we have come to live in a society where we think our worth is tied up in how much we accomplish and how much we do. And if I don't accomplish and do enough in a day, I'm not good enough. And that is such a trap. I catch myself as well. But there is tremendous value in spending time that slows your thoughts down, that calms the waters. If you think of your brain like an ocean, like it's wavy, it's churny, there's so much going on.
So how do you do that? How do you do that?
Because
I have to write it down to slow me down.
I think number one, it starts with the awareness that I'm on a
train
wreck, or what do I want to say? Treadmill,
hamster treadmill, yeah.
So my thoughts are moving too. So it's awareness of that, and it's just a matter of, even if all you did was once or twice a day spend a minute or 2 minutes slowing your breathing down and focusing on your breathing, you'd be surprised at what clarity would come from that.
I read an article, and I won't take up a lot of our time on this, that said we only use 10% of our brain. And the other 90% during meditation or sleep is repairing the synapses from all that busy use of that 10%. And for those of us that take reflective time like you're suggesting, it actually allows the brain to process, slow down, and allows it to populate other ideas and allows things to come in. And I thought, isn't that a great suggestion? Because people think, oh, who cares about the other 90%? But it's actually working on our behalf when we're sleeping and meditating.
Well, so here's the thing. We have multiple sources of intelligence available to us. Part of it is our thinking, conscious brain.
Yeah.
And another major part is our intuition. Those senses, those feelings, and women especially, we all have it, but women are a little bit more intuitive. You ever having a conversation with somebody or something's going on and your hair stands on end? Pay attention to that. So your intuition is a brilliant source of intelligence. It's the times when we're driving or we're putting our makeup on or we're in the shower and all of a sudden like an idea comes in. If you're too busy, go, and your thoughts are going too fast and too much, you're gonna miss it.
You miss it.
Yeah. So leave room for that intuition, because it's a source of brilliance, and amazing things can come to your life by hearing that and being quiet enough to pay attention.
And the other one I think is important is the body heat for me. If I want to convince myself that this is right, I can convince myself that anything is right. But if I'm in a situation like you talked about before, when I walk into a room and I sense somebody, or I'm in a particular conversation and I feel the heat come up the center of my body, that's me saying, I'm saying that this is a good situation, but I'm really feeling something's wrong here.
Trust that.
And just trust that.
Yeah.
Do you find it's hard to teach people that? Because people always say, where do I find my intuition, Denise? And even teaching my daughter that, who's 13, to listen to that inner voice or feel those body senses. Is there a trick?
I think I approach it from a logical standpoint, ironically. is I prove to people that every single thing we think and feel is actually a form of energy. Everything on the earth, the quantum physics, I know you're familiar a bit with it, is a form of energy.
Absolutely.
So when we have those feelings of intuition, they're very real. So I can take people through an exercise, and this is part of what I do in the corporate wellness programs, is show people that this isn't bunk, this is real, to get the logical part of the brain to saying, oh, wow.
Is this the one with the arm?
That's one of them. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, should we try it?
No, we can.
Let's
if
try
you'd like.
it. Okay. We'll try it quick because we have to. Eric is saying we have to kind of wrap up. Oh, we have half a body on the screen. I don't know if that's the good
Can
body.
we adjust the camera? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, in all fairness to Eric, we just kind of sprung this on him.
Okay. So put your left hand to your chest.
Lefty. I'm a lefty. Does that matter?
No, that's okay. Put your right arm out like this.
Okay. Not really dressed
Okay.
for this occasion, but let's do it.
I am going to push down on your arm with 2 fingers. And what I'm going to prove, well, I'm not going to tell you until we do it
All
first.
right.
Okay, I want you to say, I love you. And so I'm going to push down, and your job is to hold up. Okay?
Am I loving you or anyone else?
Anybody. So
Okay.
you want to push against me.
Okay.
Say, I love you.
I love you.
Okay, look how strong she is. Let me help you.
Let me help you.
Okay. I can't stand you.
I can't stand you.
See what happens.
God, that actually hurt my neck. No, my neck is funky today.
So, and you can do that. There's no trick to what I'm doing. You can actually try this with a friend. The human body goes weak when we are thinking, feeling negative thoughts, whether it's anger or fear or resentment or negative feelings towards other people or ourselves. We are strongest when we are thinking kind, compassionate, and loving thoughts. Or physically, Mother Nature, whoever you believe created you, designed you to be happy, kind, and compassionate.
If that doesn't drive it home for you guys, nothing does. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
I hope you'll
My
come
pleasure.
back.
I would love to.
We just
Yeah.
touched the tip
I
of the
know.
iceberg. We
I
didn't
could
get
talk
into
all
the
day with
radio
you.
show or all the other great things. We would love it for you to come back. Find your happiness with Keryl Pesce at KerylPesce.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram.
Yes.
Facebook,
Yep.
and the whole life. Thank you so much. I'm
Oh,
so
my
appreciative of
pleasure.
your time.
My pleasure.
Okay, that's a wrap, guys. Next week, we're going to be a rerun. And maybe we'll rerun Keryl's show because we have a big championship that's going on here. And I will see you on my birthday in June. Thanks again. Can we sit down?